Aquarius, welcome to your mid-April 2017 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Now, I believe during the last 2 weeks of April, the fourth house is really featured for you. So the fourth house is the house of home and family. It can be real estate matters also. Well, home is real estate. So you're going to have a new moon here on April 26th in Taurus, and so that could be a new beginning. If maybe you've been putting your house on the market, you sell it, or you're buying a house and you close on the house, things like that. Could have to do with your family of origin. Because you are an Aquarian, this can be a little bit hairy. There are certain signs where family it can be a bit of a sore subject. I believe that Aquarius is one of them. As a Sagittarius, I certainly know that we love freedom like Aquarians do. And sometimes family tries to get you to conform to their values and their way of life. And so that can create a bit of a conflict between people like us and people like them. So if you are being forced, and I put that in air quotes, to deal extensively with family, it could dredge up issues that you have not wanted to deal with. And that's why I give you the heads up about that. Because Mercury is stationing retrograde. If you're watching before April 9th, it's going to be in your future that this occurs. April 9th, Mercury retrogrades at 4 degrees of Taurus, and it stays at that degree point for several days. And this is supposedly the most powerful part of the retrograde, when it's in that degree that it stops, you know. And then on the 21st, it goes into Aries, so that'll be friendlier for you towards the end of April, or the last week or so, because then it will be your third house of communication, where you are much more comfortable dealing with, because the third house is the natural house of Gemini, and Gemini is a fellow air sign. So it's all about communication. Whereas with the fourth house, we're dealing with the water house, Cancer, and the emotions that it can generate, which are obvious, you know, dealing with family and things like that, dealing with the past. Aquarians are very forward looking, and so you might not want to be reminded of something from the past, and it has its own triggers. And you know, with Mercury there until the 21st, you may be kind of thinking about those things. Also, the sun goes into this house when it goes into Taurus, and I don't have the exact date. It's going to be probably around the 21st, I believe, something along those lines. So at the end of April, there will be the sun in that house, even when Mercury goes back into the third house. So just to give you a heads up. And then, of course, when Mercury goes direct on May 3rd, it's going to go back into that fourth house eventually. So you're going to have to deal with certain family matters, or, you know, house matters in the next few weeks. Or at least they will be highlighted for you. Okay. And of course, this is a general reading, so it can include any area of your life. Okay. Now I got 2 kings. So kings can relate to older males who are in positions of authority, So you can be talking about bosses, that could be talking about fathers, father-in-laws, or, what was the other thing? Gosh, I was just going to say, the father of your child, or if you're a man, being a father, and what that entails. Basically, it's interesting because I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have had that experience where you have become, and I'm talking about, I guess I would say men particularly, which only comprise 18% of my audience currently. So for you men out there, have you ever had children, and did you feel like you had a sense of stability as a result? Because this card, I'm trying to interpret it in more than one way. When I see this card, I usually don't like it because I think of somebody who is not happy with their life, or they're dissatisfied. Not being happy or being unhappy is too strong a word. It's being disinterested, and you see that the cloud is offering a cup. The cloud represents, you could even say the universe. And the person is just stone-faced. And so there's some kind of lack of gratitude. But lack of gratitude comes from not feeling abundant in your life. And even the most affluent people can get jaded, right? Sometimes overindulgence can make you jaded. And so, but this is not the only definition of this card. And I wish, I don't have that many tarot decks, because this is the Morgan Greer deck, and it seems to be fairly loyal to the Rider-Waite deck, where they show this blasé attitude. And maybe some other decks show something different. I don't like this because then I always think it means that the person is dissatisfied. And I've heard that it can mean, because the number 4 represents structure, it can mean that you are in a relationship with somebody who is not chaotic, where you feel that sense of regularity. Like, in other words, if you were with somebody who was very kind of a crazy person, I was going to say bipolar, because I remember one time I did do a reading for Aquarius, and it seemed like, I think it was a temperance in reverse, an imbalanced person. That may be very upsetting to you overall. You might have thought it was exciting, and then you didn't realize what you got into. Kings can relate to also your boss having an affair with your boss. Okay, I mean, if this is a private relationship. But in the workplace, this could be that either you started your own business and you're not really bowled over by it. You thought it was going to be something it wasn't. And actually, if that's the case, the Star card is telling you that you will have your hope restored in this regard, that maybe you were feeling disappointed, maybe you had all these grand plans and they haven't come to fruition yet, and you're going to understand exactly what you had to go through to get to this point. The Star card is believing in unseen forces, and this can also involve people that have crossed over. So maybe for some of you, maybe you lost your father and you are upset about that, and your life, I just thought of that. Because the 4 of Cups, as I said, it can be just like going through the motions, and that's a form, you could say that's a form of depression, but it might not be so severe that other people would label it that way. But you've like lost that, feeling for, lost that joy, the joie de vivre. I don't know how to speak French, but joy of life, whatever. Now, obviously, this is not going to be for all of you, but hopefully, since that just suddenly came into my head, if that is something, if you recently lost your father, just understand that this card was I probably picked it so that it could give you comfort. It's funny because the star card connects to Aquarius, as you probably already know. But something may have disillusioned you. And it could be as a result of somebody. Maybe you went to work for somebody represented by the King of Wands. Now, this wouldn't be a bad person, but the King of Wands tends to be a very noble leader. But maybe something about their enthusiasm hasn't caught on with you for some reason. It is possible, though, that you're just stable in your emotions and that everything is really cool and that you're not in a bad place at all. That's why I say with these illustrations, it can lead to kind of a narrow interpretation. It could be possible that in the past you were with a fire sign individual, so a Leo, an Aries or a Sagittarius, and there may be a water sign person. Maybe you're disillusioned with that water sign person. So that's also a possibility. So that would be a Cancer, a Pisces, or a Scorpio. Scorpio is the one that always comes to mind when I think of those three water signs. One thing to note about that is that it is hard sometimes for an Aquarius to be with a water sign person because their emotional demands may seem to be a bit much, and they may cause you to feel as though you have to, I don't know, like be at their mercy, or have to kind of like be their nursemaid in a way, and try to prop them up. And you're not about that. You're very independent, and you expect other people to be independent too. You don't want somebody who's going to hang all over you and place emotional demands on you. That's what the freedom part of this is all about. The higher message is connected to the Page of Cups. Now, this could be something creative too. Even the Four of Cups could be talking about creative projects that maybe you have found a way to make structured with the number 4. And the Page of Cups is kind of reiterating that you are, kind of this channel for all of this creative energy right now. It's possible too that you are being gullible about something. Perhaps you are perhaps you do have to choose between two people. This could be a Pisces, by the way. So I had mentioned Scorpio, but maybe this is the Pisces person, and that person, it could be either saying that this person is too gullible to understand, and maybe even dependent, like childlike, in a negative sense, that they haven't grown up. They could be an adult. Pages can even refer to children, so that if you have a child in your life, this could be something where you have to address some issue involving a child, especially their sensitivity. You may have not understood how sensitive they were, and you have to kind of it's like the universe telling you, spend more time with this child, They need you. You know, don't think that they are like you and they can just deal with life on its own terms. They need that reassurance from you. They, you know, so if it's literally a child, then for sure you cannot look at a child the way you would another adult. You have to realize that not all of us are the same, and some children have more emotional needs than others. And when it's a minor involved, it's not coddling them to give them that attention. It doesn't mean that you don't have expectations for them, and that you know, excuse their wrongdoings. But if they are just very temperamental or unsure of themselves, that you give them extra reassurance. But it could be speaking to a relationship that is imbalanced, where one person is the adult and the other person is kind of playing the child, is dependent, is weak, is naive. And if this person is literally a Pisces, you may exacerbate the situation if you don't understand them. If you think that they just need to get a job, or they just need to do, you know, get sober. You know, sometimes with cups, I think of addiction. Even the Four of Cups, maybe you're dealing with somebody who has an addiction. And if you are, it's like there's nothing, and you're dealing with another adult, there's nothing you can do to convince somebody of something. It's the bottom line is that people are responsible for themselves, even if they are in the throes of an addiction. And you can try to, you know, keep them alive, but ultimately they're going to do what they're going to do. And so that's why they have things like Al-Anon. They have, you know, groups so that you can learn how to best interact with them, so that you don't enable people and, you know, just prolong the situation. A lot of people try to protect people from themselves, save them from themselves, and it doesn't work. The best thing you can do for other people is to tell them how good they are, how valuable, how talented, and really mean it, and don't say things just to make people feel better, but really be specific about what you think is so great about them, so that they realize that they have good things within them. But the Page of Cups could be somebody who is like very, very sensitive to life. And sometimes it's sad, but these people that end up, you know, self-destructing, a lot of times it is because the world seems too harsh to them. And, you know, if you can, you don't want to be part of that harshness. Let's put it that way. What crosses you is the King of Pentacles. Now, as I said, I had a King of Wands. Perhaps that King of Wands is you, and you have your own thing that you're doing, but you're not doing it full time. And maybe you're still working for somebody else who only is about the money that they've made, who doesn't think about any other advancement, or that they're helping other people. They're just so crass that they're thinking about the money. I've worked for somebody like that, and I know that most of you probably have as well. There's a lot of, in this particular reading, I'm seeing idealism with the Star card and the Page of Cups. And I've been seeing some cynicism with the Four of Cups. The King of Pentacles in reverse can produce cynicism. So it's like this war going on between you in terms of like what, you know, what it is that, which direction you want to go in Aquarius. And actually I can see both of these facets within you, that you might have that part of you. You know, Aquarius is actually, I don't know if you know this, but it's ruled by Saturn as well as Uranus. Uranus is very unconventional and, you know, forward seeking. So that is the part of you that I would associate with the Star card. But then you have Saturn, which is also the ruler of Capricorn. Very traditional, cynical, disciplined, organized, but sometimes not attributing the best motives to other people. So make sure that your consciousness is intact while you're navigating this period of time, because that can really influence your outcome too. You know, what attitudes do you hold for life? And think about the law of attraction in that regard. The advice, or what's coming in, is represented by the Six of Wands. So this can be victory. So what are you victorious about? Well, wands can relate to career matters. But of course, we can extend that to love matters with somebody who is a fire element. So have you fallen in love with a Leo? Or a Sag, or an Aries person? That is going to be, that's kind of like an omen that is good. In your career matters, maybe at the beginning you doubted, but now you know that you have what it takes. And the Six of Wands is a card of recognition. So you may get that in some fashion. And wouldn't that be cool, Aquarius, to get that kind of recognition? You know, I wanted to say to you, I think Scorpio is your 10th house, isn't it? So if that's the case, I'm pretty sure it is. The 10th house is the house of career, and on May 10th, looking a little bit in the future, you're going to have a full moon in that house, and that would, to me, associate with the Six of Wands. The full moon in the 10th house can be a time of recognition because the light is shining on you in your reputation in the world. So maybe this is an upcoming thing. The outcome is the Page of Pentacles, and this can be a message about money, message about career matters, message about, or maybe getting money, getting some sum of money. It can be talking about students. Maybe you want to do something along those lines, or there is a student. There's another page. We have the Page of Cups, Page of Pentacles. Maybe this is child matters, your child coming home from college. It is at the end of April. I don't know if some schools get out that early, or they're telling you something, maybe some news about a student, but there's some kind of news that's of a material nature. And it's in the upright position. It should be a good one. So that's wonderful. That is really wonderful. So I hope you enjoyed this, Aquarius. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great rest of April. Bye.